Hey everybody, Adam Savage in my cave today to talk all about chainsaws. The essential forestry tool has evolved over its lifespan to be both safer and more powerful, and now modernized with electric power. I recently spent a day at Husqvarna's North American R&D facility, getting my hands on the latest in chainsaw technology and learning how this tool is still being tested and improved for today's home and professional arborists. But first off, I met up with arborist Tobias Wygant to watch these chainsaws in action and get a preview of a brand new tool that is straight out of Batman's utility belt. Hey Tobias.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
We are at what I would describe as, this is the base of your office. This is the ground floor of your office?
I call this the mothership.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you spend a lot of time up in trees.
Yes. Yeah. Majority of my day is spent in trees.
Where not only are the tools you're using like super dangerous, you have to deal with all these parameters of engineering of branches and their movement up there.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a whole world of dynamic movement all the time, and things are always loaded. You always have to account for the working load limits of everything. You have to have a good cloud of knowledge. That's the best way I can describe it for what you're doing. And it changes on every tree.
Amazing. And the stuff you're using, the ropes you're using, this has a limited lifespan out in daylight. You want to track that as well.
Yeah. You have to, every day, before I climb, I inspect all my gear, right? And then I set my lines. I make sure that it's a good test on it, that's going to hold. And then I go to the tie-in point and I check that to make sure it's good.
Because that's really your office. That's where you're.
Yes. Yeah. This is the last commute. This is the last commute.
Okay. Speaking of the last commute, can we talk about this thing?
Yeah.
This is brand new.
Yes.
This hasn't even been released as a commercial product.
Right.
And this is your first day using
it.
What is it?
It is a battery-operated ascender, right? And it's made in conjunction with a company called Skylatech with Husqvarna. And
it goes up and down the...
Yep, up and down on its own.
All I want to do is keep going?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's a lot of configurations for it. Like, this is just one of the configurations.
Yeah.
If you can have this mounted somewhere else and have it running with the remote that we have.
So it's dropping a line down to you rather than actively climbing it.
So, and you can anchor this at the ceiling, right? And run it that way. You can anchor it anywhere in between and run it that way.
And it has a remote control.
Yep. That's one of the, that right there is one of the chef's kiss of the whole thing.
You must be really excited to see this.
I'm totally excited to see this.
Because you were telling me off camera, you can not only send you up, you can send your guys up, you can get multiple people up and your tools.
Yeah, here. So like if someone's in the tree and they're like, I need a chainsaw, normally we would tie the chainsaw to the rope and they'd have to physically pull it up.
But this way, send it right up to them.
Yeah.
Amazing. Now the equipment that you use, I mean, I don't think anyone finds it mysterious that chainsaws are dangerous, but the requirements for working with them up there are very different than working with them down here.
Yeah, there's some similarities and there's some differences. We use a top-handled chainsaw in the tree because it's better for like an environment that's crowded.
I see.
And so the rear handle would maybe not be able to get through something, or like there's like another branch growing out here or whatever.
Because you're working in close quarters, you want this short distance. You want to be at the apex there.
You want a small but powerful tool to get the job done.
And small helps you because you're not cantilevering out over your own center of gravity.
Correct. And then plus, when I'm fully dressed and I have a saw on me and everything, I'm probably pushing 200 pounds, right? So to climb around in a tree, lugging 200 pounds around all day it can be a taxing event.
Right. All right. Well, I think I've occupied your time here at the base enough. I think you're going to get up there and show us some of what you do.
Okay. That's it.
Dude.
I know, right?
It's been a while since I've driven a scissor lift. I really appreciate them letting me do this. Hi, Tobias.
Hi.
So we are at height. We're now effectively in Tobias's office. Sir, how are you?
I'm doing well.
So this is where you might spend a whole day up there. Is that true?
Yeah, depending on the work. Yeah. Yeah.
Walk me through the first things you sort of think about once you get up in position.
Okay, that's a great question. Well, it depends on the scope of the work. So if this was a removal, then I would come up and I would kind of look at where the hardest pieces are going to be to get out of all this space, right? If it was a job that they said, hey, we just want the dead stuff taken out, I would go to my tie-in point, and then I'm going to look down the tree, kind of like in like slices of pie, to say like, okay, I can go down this slice and do all this work, and then I got to come back up and I can go down this slice and do all this work, right? So I guess the first thing I do is I come up with a plan. You know, I get up here, I make sure I'm secure, and then I come up with a work plan about how to do it the most efficient way.
Now, there's a switch happening right now between gas-powered and battery-powered chainsaws. I'm curious about what advantages each has for the kind of work that you do.
Here's the number one advantages for me. It's quiet, it's quieter, so it's less damage on my ears, and I'm not breathing in all those fumes, you know? A lot of guys will have like a bucket truck, and they'll put the saw in the scabbard on the bucket and leave it running, and then they're like sitting in this box of fumes, you know? So I don't have to deal with that. I don't have to deal with fuel spilling on me, things like that. The best places that I found the battery saws are working like early in the morning in a neighborhood, not having to run a gas-powered motor. Great, you know?
So I also want to point out, I've still got this, where is it? I've got your remote control here.
Yep.
Can I try sending you up and down?
Yeah, send it down right now.
All right, here we go. We're gonna lower you down. He's such a good sport. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, down.
There it is.
Look at that. Bringing it right down to you.
All right. Now
Sending
you are
up.
in control.
Here we go. Wow.
All right, that's good.
That is insane. That is insane. That is so freaking cool. It's like, these things make this job positively comfortable. I'm like, don't get me wrong, working at heights is awful. And feeling awful about working at heights is just good common sense. But that is freaking cool. All right, sir, so you're out on the edge of this branch.
Right.
And you're gonna cut ahead of you there, yeah?
Yeah, I'm gonna cut right here.
Now, there must be specific things running through your mind about what's gonna happen afterwards.
Yeah, so number one is where is this gonna land when it falls?
Right.
Right? So that's number one, but we got nothing under us, you know? The other thing is, what is my position? Like, can I use both of my hands? In this industry, we have a lot of people that will use a chainsaw with one hand. And we discussed earlier that rotational kickback that can happen, right?
Yeah.
So if I have one hand on it and it kicks back, it's going to go right in my face.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I have to put myself in a position on a little branch where I'm secure, and it's, you know, it's windy and everything, right? So I have my lanyard.
Yep.
And now I can do my work, right? And so if people would take the extra amount of time, right, to put themselves in a good position to do the work, they would stop one-handing the saw.
And when you say stable position, you might feel like you're in a stable position, but the moment you cut, that could all go away.
True. So when I cut this off, right, it's going to release weight off of the branch.
Yeah.
The branch has engineered itself with this to deal with that force, right, and that weight.
Yeah.
So when I cut this off, it's reducing that structure is now becoming stronger, so to speak, because it no longer has to hold that weight and deal with that force.
So it might
but
bounce
it's also going to lift up, right?
Yeah.
So if I was on, say, an aerial lift and it had a boom arm, I've worked my way into a tree before, cut some branches and had those branches move, and then had a hard time getting back out because the branches moved into the way.
Fair.
So.
All right, I think that's all I had questions about. Let's go ahead and cut.
All right. And this is the beauty of the battery saw right here, right? I don't have to crank this thing, you know? And I'm on this little, you know, so I just hit a button. There it is. Easy peasy.
So gentle.
And I can just keep going. All the way. And then And then this is what I'm really doing, right? So even though we're using this branch as an example, I want to cut it back to a branch that's at least 2/3 of the size of the branch that I'm cutting. Because at the end of every branch, there's an apical bud. And that apical bud is what tells the tree, I'm the end of the branch. Don't grow past me. I'm leading, right? And so when I cut this off, if I just make an arbitrary cut, all these little branches are going to come out everywhere, right? But if I cut it back to another branch that's suitable, that can overtake that leadership role, when I cut this off, now the end of this branch will have that apical bud on it, and that will become the new leader.
Dude, thank you so much. This has been such a wonderful education. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, my pleasure. And yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this back off to this, and so that way the parking lot doesn't have a crazy looking thing, and we'll give the tree some love.
Fair.
Yeah. But and then this branch, I felt it, like I got slack in my line now.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, Tobias, now we're on the ground, and I love that we've got like a test platform that's also sort of a workbench.
Yes.
But you were saying off camera that there are reasons the gas power makes more sense on the ground in some cases.
Yes, the number one case is the bar length that you have. The battery saws, unfortunately, we don't have the battery capacity to run large saws right now. So when it comes down to things on the ground and larger cuts, and you need to pull more chain on a longer bar, you're going to have a tool that can pull that chain.
And speaking of longer chain on a longer bar, this seems like a very long chain on a long bar.
This is what I would say medium.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the reason that the bar lengths matter is not so much the power of the saw, but how it can pull the oil through the bar.
Oh, really?
Right. So if the bar is too long and the oiler can't keep up with it, it's not going to keep the bar oiled properly.
This is not something I knew. Wait, and I'm really a neophyte when it comes to chainsaws, but oil is coming out through the bar?
Yes. So if you look at the drivers, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
On some of the chains, not on this one, it will have like a little groove, right? But this shape of the drive length down here is what's carrying the oil through.
I did not realize actually scooping it out to keep the blade lubricated all the way. And so the CC versus bar length is about how much oil it can keep going out to the end of the bar.
Yes, yes.
You want to show me a couple of cuts with this?
I would be glad to. I love this thing.
I'd love to try one under your tutelage.
Yeah, this saw has a lot of power. It's got a rev limiter on it. It's 90. We're holding a scooter.
You're using a hand-powered scooter.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. And this has auto-tune, 3rd generation auto-tune on it. So to start it, you just put this up.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all you do. Previous model, you put it into the choke position.
Yeah.
You started it, you pulled it till it fired, and you put it in the start position and then started it.
Yeah.
Version 3, you just lift this up, rip it and go.
It starts right away.
Oh
yeah.
Chain brake. The inertia brake. So check this out. It works on inertia. People call it a chain brake and they think that your hand hits this and that's what activates the chain brake. And that is one way to activate it. But since it works on inertia and it happens in like seconds. So this chain's spinning like 60 something miles an hour, right? And it's rotating around the bar, right? Yeah. So when that chain stops rotating, the chainsaw wants to rotate inside the chain, right? So that's how we get rotational kickback. What happens is when that happens, when the chain stops abruptly, it engages this on its own. Your hand never hits it. And the way that you can test it is like this. You disengage it, right? And then we're just gonna bang it, right? A little bit harder. There it is. And then you hear that click. There it is. So chain is loose, right?
And it won't,
because of the inertia.
Wow.
Right? So we're rotating it this way, and when it wants to rotate back the other way, its chain stops it.
So it's like an inertial stop before it even gets to you.
Yes.
Oh, that's really cool.
So here we go. We're going to start it up again.
All right.
Ready?
Yep.
Want another one?
make that look really, really easy.
Oh, well, it's not that complicated.
All right,
Yeah.
can I try one?
Go for it.
Okay.
So to start it, you just
I pull this
lift,
up.
you kind of out and up.
Okay.
That's it.
There
Put
we
your
are.
foot in the
And
handle.
Put this
Yep.
here. Okay. Oh, that's fun.
So you just met with Tobias?
I did. We had lots of fun. We cut a bunch of cookies.
I can see that.
They're a little dry, but that was really fun.
They're the best kind of cookies, though. So Tobias is a certified arborist. He is also a part of our H team. And our H team is a global team of brand ambassadors who are professional chainsaw operators. And we have a team that ranges from chainsaw sculptors to arborists to forestry professionals. But they're very integral to our product development and testing process.
Oh, okay. Not just the outreach, but also the development.
Exactly. Because, the customer is the most important thing of what we do. So as we're developing these products, we want to make sure that we're doing the appropriate field testing because, as you've seen throughout the day, it's very application driven.
Yeah.
So being a global group, we can test in a variety of different climates, different tree species, and with the variety of talent and the diverse backgrounds that we have on the team, the various applications come into play as well.
That's really cool. And this might be a stretch to ask on the spur of the moment, but I'm curious about features or idea sets that came into models like this from your H team.
Absolutely. So if you look at our timeline of innovation, the H team, they've been around for, I want to say around 7-8 years now, but going back even farther, this is our 65th year when it comes to chainsaw development.
Oh, wow.
So Husqvarna developed their first chainsaw in 1959. And a lot of the features that Tobias just walked you through, the inertia chain brake, for example, that came around in 1973. 1989, we moved on to the air injection. And then 2009, we introduced auto tune. And all of these are features that we continue to advance and modify as we continue to interface with the H team and really try to develop these technologies that help maximize their workday.
Do you get enough chainsaw time in your daily schedule? That's my
You
question
can
for
never get enough chainsaw time in your daily schedule. But to be fair, this industry is so dynamic, and working with people like Tobias and other arborists and loggers, the passion that they bring to the industry and to what they do, it's really a motivating force for me to continue to interact with them and learn all I can, all things chainsaw related.
Hey, Chris.
Adam?
You are the project manager for battery powered tools.
Yeah, product manager. Yep.
Okay. Walk me through what is unique about these. First, the last one I used was a lot heavier than this.
Yes. Yep. So this is our 350i. This is our top of the line homeowner chainsaw.
Okay.
So this is something that you're going to sell for, somebody owns a house, has a large yard, something like that. This is an 18-inch bar. It's basically going to be an all around. So, limbing, felling, some of these different things that you're going to be doing kind of on a smaller basis other than what you saw earlier.
More like a homeowner's version of...
Homeowner, yeah. So this is good for pretty much anything you want to do around the house.
Okay.
But some of the things that you'll see here that are a little bit similar, a little bit different, is obviously we talked off camera a little bit, but you have a power button now.
Yeah.
So instead of a pull start, you have a power button. Obviously, this is kind of probably interesting compared to some other battery saws that you've used. A lot of batteries you'll see are towards the back, but ours is right here in the middle. So there's a few different things with that are pretty unique for Husqvarna. So number one, that creates a very similar feel to what you have with gas because your weight is near the middle of the saw.
Oh, so your goal was to create something similar in experience.
Different but similar, right? So it's a different power source, but you have a familiar experience when you pick it up and when you use it.
Right.
So that's one of the things.
I mean, and I also assume that's a safety issue because when people are used to a tool, used to how to use it safely, if you change it radically, that could also change the safety.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, obviously it's a user experience preference. I mean, there are, competitors out there who do have batteries towards the back. It's just the difference of weighting and kind of comfort and things like that. We believe this is the most comfortable, and that's why we've designed it this way.
Got it.
But also, there's also a reason why it's in the middle right here. So
when I take the battery out, you'll see there's actually vents on the top here.
Yeah.
And on the side here. So this battery is actually actively cooled while it's being used.
It's got fans in it.
So actually, no. So actually,
Oh.
it's using the actual motor that you're using. So it's actually pulling air through the battery while
And
you're
cycling
using
it through there. So you get more power out of that
Yeah.
because you're running that.
more power, more reliable runtime. So you're not, stopping quicker because you have an overheat, scenario, over temp scenario with your battery.
Right.
And it also allows your battery to have a little bit longer life over a period of time.
Power's on. Brake is off.
Yep.
Boost is on.
Yep.
I'm ready. Like butter. This is,
What'd you think?
I really enjoy this. That is so much fun.
It's a lot different experience, right?
It is, and it's also like, from the outside, it looks like it's going to be this brrrr thing, and it's just not.
Yeah, it's very quiet and cuts very smoothly. And
Do you like begin every day just by maybe coming out here, cutting a log with your cup of coffee and getting into the mood?
I mean, before this came out, we definitely did a good bit of cutting from when this thing was in 3D printed plastic to where it's
right.
yeah.
There was a whole period
where we're kind of fine tuning what the feel looks like and kind of what this lockout feels like and all these different things.
Can we cut a little bit more?
Absolutely.
Okay, I want to cut some more.
Ready?
All right, Dan, I have gotten an education in professional gas-powered saw and consumer battery-powered saws. You're going to walk me through consumer gas saws.
That is correct.
Okay, where do we start?
So we have a few selections from our lineup.
Yeah.
Husqvarna residential saws, we have about 6 of them from the ranges of 38 cc's to 60 cc saws. This one right here is our 440. This is what's going to be comparable to the Power Axe you just used.
All right.
As far as the power behind it.
And this is is this a kind of a mid-range bread and butter consumer level?
Yeah, so this is a 40 cc chainsaw, which is comparable to our 350i Power Axe that you just used. This is our middle of the line. We have anywhere from a 100, we have a 120, a 130, 135, 435, 440, 450, 455, and 460. Those are
all the model numbers.
Those are our residential model numbers.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
And they go from 38 to 60 cc's. This one being our 40 cc chainsaw.
Right in the middle.
And then we have a 50 cc chainsaw and a 60 cc chainsaw as well to use to test the difference.
Now 50 cc seems like very close to 40 cc's.
It's close, but there's a lot more power behind it.
Ah.
So this one is actually more measurable to your torque to weight ratio for the 350i that you just
that I was
used.
feeling with the electric.
This one is more overall use comparison to the 350i.
More general purpose.
Correct.
All right.
Correct. And then you get up to your bigger 60 cc saw, which has a whole lot more power than the 440.
Can I try this one?
Yeah, we could start it
All
out.
right. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if I can
So
get
go
all
ahead
this stuff right.
Start it on the ground, get it ready, and good to go.
Right. There
Chain
we
brake
go.
up. There you go. So keep your thumb curled, chain brake off. There you go. And then we got the 50 cc variant right here. So this is going to be more torquey, and this is more going to match the torque of the 350i a little bit better, the battery that we just tried.
Oh,
That one's
I'm starting to see how you could get addicted to a very specific, like, I can see there's probably all sorts of settings that are specific to each
Yep.
user. You get a certain pace and a rhythm, and you get to love a certain kind of machine. There's a
Right.
whole world in here.
Exactly. So yeah, every size CC and model, it all has different jobs that you could do. But yeah, you finally figure out while you keep using them what you want to be tuned into, and you get your favorites. You know?
And you have 6 different models of these,
Mhm.
which means there's like 6 grades of a unique experience the user can dive into.
Correct.
Amazing.
Correct. Yeah, and then we get to the biggest residential chainsaw, and this is our 460 Rancher. So this is going to be our 60 cc chainsaw.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm going to want to try this one too. Okay, that's my favorite.
that's my favorite too. The bigger the CC, the more fun, you know?
That is really lovely. Yeah, it just falls through it like butter.
Exactly, yeah. So no, it's definitely a great saw. Yeah, the 460 is my favorite on the residential side. Of
That
course,
is really, really fun.
592 XP on the pro side is my favorite. You used that one a little bit ago too.
That one was
that's
really,
my
really
ultimate
fun.
favorite, yeah.
Dude, thank you so much on walking me through this. I didn't know. I'm not kidding at all. I didn't know at the beginning of this day that I might be a chainsaw person, but I think I might be a chainsaw person.
Chainsaws are a lot of fun. I'm glad I get to
Dude.
play with them every day.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
You feel very lucky, I'll bet.
I am. Definitely.
Thank you,
Thank
man.
you. Yeah.
Well, I have just finished a fantasy camp of a kind of day where I got to cut many slices off of many logs with really many chainsaws. And I'm a believer in cleaning up after myself. So I'm going to. What I hear is there's a tool that Husqvarna is making that can help me with that. And to find out about it, I'm to talk to Josh. Josh, come on. Oh,
Hey,
no way.
You like what you see there?
You don't know this, but I'm a leaf blower guy, and that is the biggest leaf blower I've ever seen.
Well, you're right about that. It is the biggest you've seen. It's probably the most powerful you've seen. This is the 590 BTS. It'll be launching later this year.
Wait, this hasn't been released yet?
That's right. This is a prototype. They're going to start production on these in a few months.
No
We'll be
way.
launching this fall in time for leaf season. Right now this blower, when it launches, is going to have the highest stats of any blower on the market, the most blow force, the most CFM of anything you can get today. So we're really excited to be launching this. It's going to really kind of set like a new ceiling on power and give landscapers and professionals the power they need for the toughest cleanup jobs, whether it's big piles of leaves or things like that, or even large amounts of sawdust. There you go. All the way, all the way.
I really like my job.